This episode is brought to you by High Point Market. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise.
Welcome back to the Design Dash podcast. I'm Laura Umansky, your co-host, here with Melissa Grove. And today we are going to discuss the question. Notice I'm not saying answer it because I don't know. I mean, I do have an answer. You have an answer, right? We are going to ponder the question, the one question: should you discount to your clients? Should you offer a discount? And that is your design services and product sales. Should you ever discount? And so we talk about this, I feel like, quite a bit in workshops. This question comes up in our community at Design Dash. We talk about this quite often. And we've kind of actually flip-flopped over the years in our own firm, even recently. Okay, so Melissa, do you have a stance here? Like, what is your opinion on discounting?
I just always feel like discounting is a big no-no in the luxury market, and pretty much any residential interior designer is going to be in the luxury market. It's just a positioning risk, I think, and we've talked about it a lot this week. I have many reasons why I'm against it. But I would say the biggest meta reason is that it positions you as somebody who may have inflated your price to begin with. Like, if you're okay with telling a client, oh, sure, we can discount that, no problem. Oh, sure, I'll take off those hours, no problem. Or, okay, I can pass off my discount to you on that furniture, no problem. That would signal to me as a client, well, okay, your margins are huge. Of
Yeah,
course.
they think you're padding your number to begin with.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think
Interesting.
due to our business model, I don't want them to know that,
Yeah. And I mean, we're not like, we come to our numbers scientifically. Like, we're really careful about how we're calculating our margins, both in the design service, by person, by role. We know exactly how much we need to charge for them versus what they make as a salary so that we're a profitable firm.
Of course, we're a
But
business. Yes.
right. We're a business. So okay, let's break this down because there are two places within a firm that we feel really strongly at Laura U Design Collective and at Design Dash. You should make money as a business. We have two buckets. That is design services, anything that you are doing on the services side to produce the design for your client, and product sales. So the sales of furnishings, soft goods, lighting, whatever it is that you sell, you're making a margin. So there's two buckets there. So let's tackle them separately. I think that'd help. Okay, so design services fees. So we don't discount there. Like, there's no discount. We don't say like, hey, I normally charge $300 an hour, but for you, we're going to charge 200. Like, that just feels smarmy to me in the first place. But we do cut hours. So if we're over budget on a project, for example, maybe we cut some time. Maybe we spent a little too much time, in my opinion, on one thing, and I cut that time, or we're training a new hire, so we cut some of their time to allow for training. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about cut time? And then how do you present that to a client, if at all?
I mean, it's something that I think everybody knows I absolutely hate. And one thing about it is it's unfair because we don't apply that kind of discount to every single client. It typically only happens when a client is unhappy or we know that that client won't pay it. There are some clients who will and understand that there's more value to what we provide than just the hours that we worked on that project. There's our expertise, our taste level, our creative judgment. All of those things are worth money outside of, okay, it took me 15 minutes to source this pillow, or something like that. It's not that. And so I always feel like it's very unfair to the clients who are complacent when we cut that time. I'm very anti-cut time. On the other hand, I understand that there are some times where we've made big mistakes where maybe it's just like, okay, that was more than the cost of doing business. Like, that was something that we probably should rectify. And then I guess I'll allow it. But I'm never pushing for cut time ever.
I'm okay to cut time, especially because, like, I can see the extra time it may take to train a new hire, for example, just in our process. So even if they're working on a new project, I'm taking into consideration that they may have a lot of experience, but they're still learning the Laura U Design Collective process. And so there is a learning curve there that can take time. So I'm okay to cut a little bit of time and not a lot because, like, we're pretty clear in our training, like we have visual aids. We take the time to onboard new hires. So I feel like we're really good about it. But there still is some time there that is above and beyond what would normally be charged to a project. So I'm okay to cut like a little bit. My question is, when we do agree to cut time, that it is warranted and that we should, and we do that as a leadership team. That's not one person's decision. Like we all talk about it and ultimately decide what the right thing to do is. When we do cut time, do we show that to the client? Are we like, you know what? We just felt like we should cut this time. And look, you got 5 free hours. Like, how do we position that?
No. And even when the design team says, "Can we put that on the invoice?" I just don't, and I don't
It's
tell
just
them that I didn't.
internal. It's
Yeah.
internal information for us.
Because the reason why you do it is because you feel bad. Like, as a designer, you feel bad for charging that time. There should be no feelings in asking for money. It is a transaction. So I
Unless we made a clear mistake and we're like, went down the wrong path for 10 hours on something the client never asked for.
Yeah, but they don't need to know, because then if
Yeah.
like, if you want them to know, then you're seeking for validation. Like, you want them to then understand, like, you sacrificed yourself in some way to make them feel better, and that is a big no-no for me from a financial perspective. So just if you
Yeah.
want to cut that time, go right ahead, but they don't need to know.
Yeah, and I think it's more for internal tracking too, just to see how well we're actually managing a project, how efficient we're being, where are we cutting time and why? Like what happened so we can rectify that in the future and get more efficient. But I agree, like we used to show clients like, "Hey, we gave you a courtesy 5 hour." We called it our courtesy. Why? Like they didn't ask for that. Like why are we even talking about it? So no, we don't put it on our invoices anymore. But we do track it internally, but we're not telling them like, "Hey client, by the way, we're just so giving that
Right, because 'cause you're not.
like we're not giving them
You're just
anything."
manipulating them to feel better about you. Like, it's not
I didn't think
nothing
about it
good
like I didn't
happening
think
about
about it like
that.
that. Like, sometimes it really is like, I don't feel good about the amount of time that we spent on that." Like, I know how much time that should take pretty much at any level of designer. I know what an intern should take. I know what an associate would take. We just spent too much time because we were excited about it, probably, and we just, like, wanted to go down 3 different paths when we could have gone down 1. And for me, I'm like, the client shouldn't be penalized because we were excited about, like, exploring something different unless it's really warranted, and sometimes it is. Sometimes we're like, there could be 2 really good paths here. I wanna go down both and see what's best." And that's what they're paying for.
Yeah,
That
they're paying for that
creativity,
creative process,
that
which
impulse to,
is
like,
a fear.
explore different creative options for them so that they're not getting the same design everyone else is, within reason, and you're right, that's subjective, like, that's hard to say, and so that's why I do lean on you when I'm like, "Hey, I'm thinking about cutting this, how do you feel about it?" Because you can just take a step back and look at it and say, like, "That's a normal business, that's, like, a normal cost of doing business. There's no reason to cut that, like, there's nothing, like, below board here," or I don't know what the saying is,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think that there are important I mean, that's what makes discounting so challenging, is because creativity isn't a linear path, and so you're then devaluing your own creative process that way. And I think that's why I'm just
yeah.
so against it, is because they're not just paying for you to pick a chair. They're paying for your expertise and your knowledge and everything that you've done to get to that
Yep,
chair. That's
agreed.
very subjective.
So then, okay, so that's for design services. So yes, we may cut time. Internally, we're tracking that. So they are by definition getting a discount. They just don't know. So we're not telling them. That's for us to know. What about furnishings sales? So what do you think about discounting? Because it's no secret there are trade discounts. Like there is a reason we're in business. There are retailers are buying at wholesale. They are getting a massive discount from retail so they can turn around and sell at retail and make a profit. Designers get a trade discount. It's not as much as wholesale, but there is a discount there. So how do you position that to clients? Like, how do you feel about sharing that discount, which some clients will ask for,
Yeah,
passing
I
it
mean,
along?
I think it depends on your business model. I've been seeing a lot of younger designers now who will charge a pretty hefty hourly fee, or they go fixed because they're really fast, and then they pass off a discount. I'm sure they're making a little bit, but they're very transparent about their fees. That's never been our business model.
I
So for
hate
us,
that model. I think it's terrible, but whatever.
I don't think that that works. I see why that's happening, of course, because there's just an over commoditization of our industry. People can figure out, like, or they think that they can. Like, they'll go to West Elm and they'll say, okay, well, this costs however much it costs. That's how much I'm going to pay. They don't realize that, we're going to what a custom, or like we're doing something completely custom, or doing something to the trade, which then I mean, I see us in our business model as a retailer. We're a reseller. And as such, we're also a curator. We're not just going to a retailer that anybody else could go to and we pick something that we think will work. I mean, we're going to vendors that we've developed relationships with over decades that might, that'll show us something completely different that nobody would be able to find unless they were within this industry. But that one I that one is a little bit trickier because I see so many designers have so many different kind of business models when it comes to the furniture side. Either they pass over a little bit of a discount, they pass over the entire thing because they're making so much more on a fixed fee of the project. I see some people who do what I think is a very low markup of 35% across the board, whether it's retail or it's custom, whatever, because they must be making money in some other place. So I guess that really just totally depends on your business model, but I do think that every interior designer should be making money on top of furniture.
I agree. Obviously, I think that's a big part of our business model is that we're making a margin or making a markup on both design services and on furniture. And that's why we are a profitable firm and we're able to have a team that is properly compensated, that we can bonus, that we can offer PTO to. Like we can take care of the people that work for us because we actually are a profitable firm. If we couldn't do that, we'd be like in a weird cycle of like, oh, we're in our feast era and now everybody gets a bonus and now we're in famine. Sorry, everybody's laid off. Like it would be, I think, that volatile if we didn't have both areas that we were actually making money as a business. And that's because we're a larger firm. Like if you're smaller, maybe you can ride out that feast or famine that sometimes happens in this industry.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
so. If it's just you,
I mean, if it's just
yeah,
you do whatever you want.
I think you can do whatever you want. I think you can bill however you want. I think that
Hmm.
makes sense. But yeah, I mean,
Whatever works for you.
once you get to our scale, and especially because we only work in luxury residential, so I think that's a business
I mean,
model.
even if you have a team of 3, a team of 5, you still have to be able to weather ups and downs and be able to treat your team the way they should be treated and compensate them the way they should be compensated through ups and downs. And that's the hard part, right? Like that's the scary part, I think, as a business owner is like, can I do that? Can I hire and still pay them like all 12 months of the year, even when like 3 months are up and 3 months are not as great? Like, how do I balance that? And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we bill properly for our services and our furnishings. And in the past, we have discounted to our clients for furnishings purchases. In fact, like right now, we still do under some of our contracts, we do minus 15%. So we do a 15% from retail. And so that means we have to figure out what retail is for every single product that we sell to a client, which we do. But that means if it's to the trade, we've got to track that number down. If it's custom, we have to do research so that we are like comparable for those custom items that don't necessarily have a retail equivalent. Like we've got to come up with what that is that's fair. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into that, even giving that 15%. We're not doing that anymore moving forward. We stopped doing that. It's just not necessary. And like I think you like our clients typically don't even ask. Like they're like, "Oh, great," at the beginning when I'm first talking to them, but then it never comes up again. And we are applying it behind the scenes, like diligently. We are diligent about it. It's in our contract. But we're
I think
striking that because they don't need it.
it's a critical point too that because of the agreements that we have with our trade vendors, our clients do typically get a discount off of retail. That is on average around
For sure.
15%. I just
Yep.
recommend that people
They get
don't
it anyway.
market themselves that way because it devalues you. It takes you a tier below a luxury business when you start talking about discounting. And of course that's just, marketing mumbo jumbo but I do think it's true.
Well, it's important. It's part of the sales process too. Like I do have clients, wealthy clients with multi-million dollar properties that will still ask, "So I know you get a discount. How does that apply to me?" It is not a secret that we get a discount, a trade discount. Like it's a thing. That's why we do this is because we can make money on it. I tell them, typically you're going to see around 15%, but that's just our target. I don't know. It varies by vendor. We have great relationships with every single vendor we work with, and that margin is different. So our goal is 15%, but it's not law, something like that. I don't know. It's just a selling point, I think, but it's also like we're no longer offering a set discount. So if someone's offering a discount right now, what do you think they should do? Just stop?
It depends on what they're doing. Like why are you offering the discount? Like that's a good question. Like why have we offered discounts in the past?
I think just to be competitive for me, like And I started doing this when I first opened. So this was a a decision I made 20 years ago as a brand new business. And it just stayed. Like I never really got rid of it until this year, 20 years in, I got rid of it because I'm like, you were like, why are we doing this? Like it's causing so much work behind the scenes for the design team. When in reality, clients are going to get the same benefit anyway, because that's pretty much our average is like 15% off. So why are we like killing ourselves to do the math? On the like, designers aren't mathematicians, like, why are we spending so much time on this? So I think for me, it was just to be competitive when I first started, just to
Yeah.
say like, "Yes, you get a discount. My margin is what my margin is. You get 15% off. Whatever my margin is, it varies. It could be 10%, it could be 40%, it could be 50%, but that's my proprietary information."
Right, right, exactly. So competition. So it's a positioning thing, which is what we were talking about in the very beginning, is that the way that you speak about your costs does position you in the market. And so if you're competing by cost, then your competitors are going to be the people who are going to be talking about price rather than value. And I think that if you are at that stage where you want to compete with other designers who are going to sell based on price, that's where you are. But if you maybe want to go a step higher and really focus on the value that you provide, it doesn't matter how much your services cost. And again, this is why I think business model is so important. And again, who your ideal client is I mean, you could be an interior designer who works really well and is thriving and very successful in the middle market, but we're not. And so I think that our competitors now, they're not going to be volleying on price. They're going to
No,
be on value. This is what you get when
100%.
you work with me, and it is an experience. It is my expertise. It is the
Team
creative
capability.
journey for you as a client, and what you're going to get in the end is priceless, baby. You know, like it's got to be about
Is that
the
how you're gonna sell it? It's priceless, baby.
no. That's how I'm saying it with other designers. But that's why I think when you are talking about discounting, it really is just all about positioning. Do you want to compete with people on price, or do you want to have competitors who are competing on value? Which I think that the clients who was going to say this, but the clients who care a little bit more about price than they will value can be a little bit more demanding and maybe less fulfilling to work with from a creative standpoint because they might just look at the price point. They're not necessarily going to see the creativity or the innovation behind it. Whereas somebody who cares a little bit more about value might splurge on that beautiful vintage item that, yeah, is going to be out the ass expensive and incredibly unaffordable, but they see it beyond how much it costs.
Yes, I think in our experience, that's exactly right. So let's say you're that newer designer or you've been a designer for a while and you're solidly in that middle market. You want to go from marketing on price or competing on price with other designers in your region. How do you make that jump from marketing on price to marketing on value?
Well, that's a completely other podcast, but you have to change your messaging, really, and I think you have to evaluate, first of all, who your ideal client is and how do they like to be spoken to. You might find that your I instead of thinking about your competition, I always wanna think about your ideal client. I you that because that client might still care about price depending on what your business model is. But if you find out that your client is somebody who cares about value, you need to understand how the messages that they're receiving around that value are relevant to them. So what are those things that they value if they're not cost? Is it, working with a designer that's well known? Okay. If that's the case, then you might want to focus a little bit more on PR and getting published and getting awards and then talking about that on your social media. I'm award winning and I'm in demand. If what they value could be maybe they like vintage items, one of a kind things that not everybody can find, then you show yourself on social media. You're shopping at an antiques market. You're picking out really cool new things. You're traveling right now because it's summer and you're showcasing something architectural that you really like. And you're just like, man, I wish that I could do something custom like that. You really have to figure out what that ideal client wants and why they want it. And then we can figure out the messaging on how to reach them. And as you can see in both of those examples, We don't talk about cost or discounting.
That's great. That's a great example. Okay. It's actually making me like fired up to look at our messaging and like, what are we saying right now? Do we need to revisit our messaging? Are we I mean, I feel like we
We can
absolutely
talk
are.
about ours. One of the things that clients really love about working with us is our team. Our team is multidisciplinary. They're really talented. We can do almost anything, everything that has to do with a house besides picking up a hammer and actually building the darn thing. There are plenty of wonderful builders that we work with successfully that can do that for them. So we talk a lot about the team, and the team is always out and about. We showcase how we work. We showcase Shannon, who's been our interiors director for 11 going on 12 years. There are strong ties in this business that I think our clients particularly really enjoy. Also, the fact that we're really just kind of down to earth. I mean, we're having this podcast right here saying some, pretty raw things about billing and clients, and not every design firm will do that. And so we really lean into those things that
And we attract our clients look like that, right? Like they're going to have these conversations, just very candid, open, easy. Like I love our clients because they are us, because that's who, I mean, we're talking to us, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay. I think this is great. So bottom line, don't discount.
I really don't like it. Not in this industry. I mean, if we're Amazon, sure, discount, whatever. If that's how you make your money is low cost and offering things to more people. We're a very niche industry that is extremely high luxury,
Have
especially
you
right
ever
now.
seen like Gucci have a discount? Have you ever seen them have a sale?
That would be so bizarre.
I can tell you how they do it. It is interesting. So, this is going to really say a lot about me. Okay. I'm just going to say it. So, I shop here in Aspen. There's a Gucci shop. And I love my salesperson, May. I think she is the best person. I love her. She's great. She's an excellent salesperson. Like, she knows my daughters. Like, it's terrible. Like, this is bad. I know. I hear
I
myself. I
mean,
do.
yeah, it's still transactional. She's not.
I get it. But like,
How many times have
it
you had dinner with
is, but I do have a relationship with her. Like she had a tragedy in her life and like I saw her and hugged her and cried and like I do love her. Like she's great. However, it is transactional. I get that. The way they do this is they have a closet or like a little space inside the Gucci showroom for their preferred clients where they will have some things that are discounted. And she will tell you discreetly, like, hey, I've got these things, like, come over here. And she'll open the little closet and you can see it and you feel special. You're like, oh my God, I should totally buy those $1,000 shoes because I'm saving so much money. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's how they do it. And so I don't know how that would ever apply, but maybe if you wanted to have like a little discreet, like, hey, I found this. It's amazing. I really want you to have it. I'm like 20% off just because I want you to use it so badly. I don't know. That may be ridiculous and set a bad precedent. Anyway, that's how they do it. Ultra luxury.
Okay.
Telling you.
You're struggling.
I mean, I'm telling you, but I'm like, ooh, I do need those feather shoes that I will never wear anywhere simply because you're showing them to me and I feel super special. I'm such a sucker. You're looking at me like I'm a sucker.
That's a different thing entirely. But business model, again, business model dictates.
Fine, it doesn't apply. So don't discount, guys. That's it. Unless you really want to compete on price and that's your bag. Like you're there, you're comfortable with it, you want to compete on price. At that point, probably research is needed to see what other people are doing because you are competing with others on price. How would you even do that?
Websites,
Get me.
you get really sneaky and call them yourself, ask around.
We don't do that. No. No,
I
Melissa
mean, I
would
don't do that
never.
now, but I've worked in the market research field before. Like, let me tell you, people be calling all over the place, kicking tires. So
Good to know. I wonder if someone's done that to us. I bet they have.
absolutely, absolutely, they
I've
have.
had some weird conversations and I'm like, that was an odd question.
Mhm.
Huh,
Be
interesting.
wary. All these questions are just like, okay, well, how do you bill? How many times do I get an invoice? What does this look like? You'll get those conversations every once in a while, and I bet
Well, I
you
mean, I feel like I have those with every client
never heard
though, and
one.
I'm fine to talk about it because it is what it is. Like, that's just how we do it.
I don't know. I've had some weird combos where it's just like that's the first thing that they're asking about before they want to talk about their house. I'm like, oh, because you don't have one. That's okay.
I'm not that suspicious. I'm just like, sure, I'll tell you all about it. Let's talk. Or they could just listen to this podcast and find out exactly.
Right. That's right.
Okay. Any parting words of wisdom about discounting?
I'm just not a big fan of it. I know that's
Just
it.
don't do it. Melissa's not a fan. Don't do it.
But again, like if you are like Gucci and you have inventory, right, that you need to get rid of, discount away. But we
That's
don't.
different.
So that's different.
Actually, okay, before we close out, that's interesting because there are designers that will do warehouse sales.
Yeah. Then it's fine. You're selling a product,
Yes.
at that level that you purchased. That's your asset.
That is completely different. You're right. That's the positioning.
So that's the thing. Business model, business model. You know your business model first.
I just feel like a light bulb went off. Yep, it's product sales. It's not anything to do with design or client relationship. It is a product sale. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm not buying this sofa for us, which I still think you say all the time. It's like, I'm buying that for you. And I
Right.
don't want to keep that sofa.
That's not
But
going in my house.
if I did have an inventory of 5 sofas, then absolutely come into my special room. We'll get you a special discount.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation and you're a design firm owner, we would love to see you in the community because we talk about this even more transparently, shockingly than we are right now within the community in our bi-monthly coffee chats. It's really fun. You get to connect with other firm owners and we'd love to see your face there. So join us and you can find it on the website, design-.com, or just DM us and we will tell you all about it. We love to talk about it. So
We do.
yep, find us there. And thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on design-.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.